So I'd come to the end of probably about 6 years of some really significant, challenging things going on in my life. So I worked for a company that closed down the factory that I was working in. So I was on the senior leadership team, and it was our job to close that site down, make everybody redundant, including me, and making sure that we printed things like prescriptions and things like that, secure documents. So we had to keep the supply going the whole way through. We couldn't, let anybody down. So that was a high pressure situation. And I moved from that into a role in a company where I was not a good cultural fit at all. And my values just did not align with their values. So I was there for 2 and a bit years. Needed to get out by the end of it. So those professionally, that had been really challenging. At the same time, I'd gone on to the leadership team at church, had become a steward, and we had some significant challenges in the church with interpersonal stuff, and as a result, our minister ended up leaving us. So that became, and we had a massive building project going on. And there were 2 of us who were really leading all the work on that building project, which isn't something I've ever done before. So was really outside my comfort zone and my knowledge. So yeah, that really high pressure. We didn't have a lot of people standing up to the roles. It's all got a bit better now. And all through all of this, my eldest was sitting her GCSEs so a year and a bit ago, which, is normal. You expect that at that age, but on top of everything else I've been operating in Superwoman for 5 or 6 years. And then I guess last summer that sort of all ended. So I was in a job I was comfortable in. Church had got much more straightforward, still challenges, but much easier. Ella had finished her GCSEs, and I thought, right, I'll be all right now. Yeah, and I think I've only really realised in the last month or so that I was burnt out. I kept hearing people on your programmes talking about burnout, and I thought, well, I never got as far as that. I never really got burnt out. I didn't get sick, but looking back now, I think actually, I was completely burnt out. I couldn't get things done. I was getting through, and people on the outside would not have realised, but I think my family knew, and I wasn't looking after myself. So then came Living the Change, and that's been great because all the stuff on the hearth, the energy of that, and the Q&A calls, and they're so good with the video. I think it makes such a difference when we have the breakout rooms, and and I've had some great coaching on those, but I've also had some great realizations from watching other people being coached, and from the little conversations in the breakout room. So I think one of the aha moments that came in one of the Q&A calls, I put my hand up to be coached but didn't get picked, and we were in the breakout room at the end, and I told the other 2 ladies who were in that I was hoping to get some coaching, and somebody says, oh well, they'd have only told you have to look at your needs creed and make sure you're fulfilling your needs. and we laughed, and I came off the call and I thought, hang on a minute, she's right. I've been kind of writing down and thinking about what my needs creed is, and it took me a long time to imagine what my needs might be. But the only person who can make sure I fulfill my needs is me. And I do actually have to do it. So I decided to start by drinking 2 litres of water a day and just see what happened. Yeah, and then in the hearth, getting that support from there as well. And things like I've become aware of, so 6 years ago, we were working with a coach at work, and she said to me at one point, she said, so, Mrs. First Class Degree from Cambridge University, what is it that makes you think you're not good enough? And I went away from that and thought, I don't know. And I've worked it out now, but I've only worked it out this year through Living the Change. Certainly for me, it's been transformational. I feel like a different person. When I think back to who I was in November when I came to Manchester and who I am now, I feel like a different person. And I feel like there's scope out there that I just didn't know, I didn't realise was possible. I've got a long way to go, and the programme and the hearth and all the tools are going to support me in going from strength to strength. So if you think you want to be different, I would absolutely recommend jump on board.